If you didn't attend Amazon Accelerate last week, don't worry, I have you covered for all of the information that I got from the conference last week. My name is Noah Wickham here at My Amazon Guy, and let's kind of dive into everything that Amazon actually talked about. I walked away from the conference with a lot more than just a stuffy nose and a little bit of a head cold. I walked away with a ton of information about what Amazon is going to be doing for the foreseeable future, as well as what is actually important for you as the seller. So, first and foremost, what is the number one thing that Amazon talked about? And if your guess was AI, you would be correct. It is probably the only thing realistically of substance they talked about for the majority of the conference at all of their general sessions. I talked about it a lot while I was at the conference about all of the different things around AI that they're coming out with. They have a new seller assistant that you have probably utilized at some point in time. That seller assistant is in my opinion, not exactly the best thing in the world. I mean, you can actually use it right here and now without much hassle whatsoever. It basically is just kind of a ChatGPT wrapper-esque type of AI. It gives you basic information that, you could probably just have beforehand typed in that same question into the search bar, and it would have just given you the answer, but in the form of a help document rather than the form of a chatbot. So realistically, again, this is not really an AI seller assistant. It's much more of basically a chatbot. It really is. It's just a chatbot. But that's all it is. But it is generative AI, as they like to say it, or in some cases, they were even talking about agentic AI a lot, and how in the future, agentic AI is going to be able to essentially help you do all sorts of tasks. It was actually really interesting to see the different things that it was showing off. And I have an image here. It's not exactly the best quality in the world, but this was a great example. I'll kind of zoom in here on some of the stuff that they were showing us. And essentially, this goes into a couple of different things. They were showing this. Not many people have access to this yet, but essentially, this is their entire aspect of showing projected sales, different adjusted fees, your pricing modules, so on and so forth. And so Amazon was really, really, really into AI. And I don't think that's surprising to anyone, considering the fact that that's been like the primary thing that they have talked about for I don't even know how long now. It seems like every tool that they come out with and everything that they are likely to come out with here in the coming months and whatnot is going to be AI related. One of the really big ones that they put a huge focus on, though, as well, was their new creative studio, which a lot of people probably already know about this. I've made a couple of videos on it. My personal opinion is that it's not all that great. They were showing all of these kind of videos and everything during the actual conference. They were going into in-depth examples of how it can make video, how it can make photos, things like that. And I think if you're someone who literally has zero idea what you're doing from a design standpoint, and you're just trying to churn out a product listing, optimize later, sure, this is fantastic. Good. Utilize it. It's great. It's fantastic. I still think that something like Google's VEO3 makes way better video. I still think that Gemini makes way better. The new Google Nano Banana makes way better overall graphics as well than this. And so I think they're behind as far as I'm concerned when it comes to the actual AI generative game overall. So that being said, those were two of the really, really big things, though, that they just focused on was their agentic AI and their generative AI. Now, is that to say that necessarily it's not going to get a lot better? No, I think it definitely will. I think they are putting a huge demand into this. One of the biggest that I saw that was actually the most useful and practical for a lot of different sellers out there was the AI tools that they're putting into the Product Opportunity Explorer, which you can actually check out today. You can utilize this today. It's actually really, really cool in the sense of it's actually taking a lot of niche insights into certain products. You can look at things such as like customer reviews, demographics, things like that, and understand a little bit more what it is that you should be doing from a new product launch perspective for specific types of products. So this one just being a nerve sync type product that they're making a random image for of some kind. But overall, they do have some really, really good insights from an AI perspective. They likely aren't going to get anywhere else. And the reason you're not going to get anywhere else is because Amazon has all the data on it. It's essentially the way that Amazon themselves is able to win the AI race in some capacities. And this is one of those huge ones Product Opportunity Explorer, I think, is one of the only ways, realistically, Amazon will have a leg up comparatively to other competitors for just winning. They have all of that data. They know what their customers are clicking on. They know what their customers are wanting and buying and things like that. And then they try and pair that with your primary brand and your category and showing what you should and shouldn't be doing from an overall product perspective. They actually showed it a few different times during the overall actual thing. They even showed this new little tool. I have a nice little image here of this market demand. So they have this new market demand, which you technically can find in some. I just didn't have a chance to pull it up right now. But they do have this where I think it's up in the air. You know, they do things like cooling beach chair, right? High purchase intent. They're showing all this volume and everything. They're like, demand for cooling beach chair is growing. It's like, well, yeah, it's the middle of summer right now. So, of course, people are going to be looking for that. So, I do think some of that stuff is cool on the AI front. Now, some of the stuff I don't like on the AI front, one of them being that they touted the seller assistant, which I showed at the beginning of this video, as being this, I guess, really, really useful agentic AI that can start doing tasks for you inside your Seller Central, changing things, so on and so forth. And it's just not that. So I've used this quite a bit, and it can't do 90% of the things that they were showing during their actual presentation of it. It was asking like, hey, put together forecasting for me based on competitors and showing that during the actual visuals, and it just can't do that right now. I think maybe at some point, yes, it'll be able to do that, and them actually releasing a true AI agent into Seller Central may happen based on what they were showing. I just don't think that what they were touting is what Seller Assistant is capable of right now. I will say, one of the funnier aspects during the presentation, though, is that they were showing this. And they were saying that the Seller Assistant AI agent can actually help you change and get ahead of things such as pesticide claims. Now, I know so many people out there have probably fallen victim to a pesticide claim at some point in time. So you can see right here, it says eliminates mosquitoes. We all know that would be a pesticide claim. I didn't get the image of what they wanted to change it to, but they essentially wanted to change it to keeps bugs away, which I thought was really funny because they essentially said, hey, you can't have eliminates mosquitoes, but you can have keeps bugs away, which is still a pesticide claim, which goes to show that a lot of times the people who are talking about these things and wanting to do these things don't actually know what their system will and won't flag. And so that makes me a little cautious, I will say, to a lot of this agentic AI stuff. Yeah, if I'm a seller and I personally don't know something about Amazon, and then I'm using this AI agent to make changes on my listing so that I'm following Amazon policy, I would sure hope that it changes it to something that still follows Amazon policy and doesn't change it to something that still breaks it, which, again, keeps bugs away, absolutely will break the pesticide policy, and you will get flagged for that. So thought that was really interesting. Another really, really big change, and this one is for all my global sellers out there. I'm sure every single person has had an issue with customs before, and especially filling out customs paperwork. I know I have. It's a pain in the butt. It really is to fill out customs paperwork and have to go through that whole process. And thankfully, AGL, Amazon Global Logistics, has it covered. So one of the really cool things that they add is basically this section under AGL where now they are going to keep a list of different tasks that need to be done. They're going to keep all of your documentation, and you guys probably can't even see some of this, but they're going to keep all of your documentation, essentially. They're going to pre-fill customs documentation based on historical paperwork you have filled out before, and essentially they're going to do the entire process for you. And it's going to make your customs aspects of getting product into not just the US, but any country just super, super easy. That is one of the major things I thought AGL was doing. Secondarily to that, they also are wanting to essentially start working with sellers on the manufacturing, on the AGL side, having one store of inventory. They want to store all your inventory for the entire globe in one spot that AGL manages and then sends out to every single warehouse as you need it. So I think that's a really cool thing. Most of the cool things actually came from the logistics side of the business for Amazon during this. One of the other really big ones would be MCF. MCF had some pretty cool stuff. One of the really big things for MCF is that they are launching a new MCF managed orders dashboard. And this one is really cool because it's basically taking Vico, which if you don't know what Vico is, it's essentially Amazon's I guess like seller fulfilled software platform. And they're putting Vico basically inside of MCF, allowing you to see all of your Amazon orders, but also all of your Walmart orders, all of your TikTok orders, all of your Etsy orders, so on and so forth. Any of the platforms that essentially MCF goes into, you're now going to be able to see that on the Amazon platform itself, as well as manage inventory levels through that as well. You're going to be able to manage the listings on there and pricing and things like that. It essentially eliminates the need for inventory management software, which I think is super interesting of Amazon, especially because right before this, they essentially put up a giant wall of different inventory management softwares, things like Feedonomics, Rhythm, Seller Board, all of those, and talking about their partners. Then they talked about this, which essentially eliminates the need for all of those software partners. So it was a bit of an interesting thing for them to do, but I did think it was a little bit humorous at the end of the day as well, for them to essentially just be like, hey, we love our partners. By the way, here's this software now that doesn't matter. So the other aspect, and this one is for all of my resellers out there, if you have ever been a reseller of any product whatsoever, when they came out with co-mingling, it was the most annoying thing in the world because you cannot control what someone else's product quality is comparatively to yours, even if Amazon decides to take one of those other people's products and sends it out for your order just to get it to them faster. Co-mingling is one of those things that Amazon released, and everyone kind of did a group why, because the true answer is why. I understand it makes it a faster shipping experience for customers, but at the end of the day, it made it a real headache for sellers because it increased returns on average for sellers. Overall, you would end up getting negative reviews because you can't control product quality as much. It was a real headache for sellers. And thankfully, they're getting rid of it. They are ending co-mingling, which I think is great. The funniest thing happened when they were talking about this. Beforehand, they were talking about essentially ending it, everything. They're like, we're getting rid of co-mingling. Everyone's like, yeah, woo, finally. But they were talking about it beforehand, and there was a few times where she's talking about it, and she pauses. Full pause. She wants to essentially go through and like get people to clap or something, but everyone was just kind of silent because of the aspect that it's like, we're not going to clap when you revert on a change that you initially enacted that no one asked for, and everyone said, why are you doing this? And then you kept doing it, and then you're now coming out and saying, hey, you know that thing we did that you all hated and you said you hated? Well, guess what? We're getting rid of it. Pat us on the back, right? So it's a very common thing Amazon does, and this is one of those that I just think it was crazy for them to do it in the first place, and they wanted a giant pat on the back for it. It's not something that a lot of sellers really even wanted, and so it's a good change, in my opinion, to get rid of co-mingling, especially, again, for all of my resellers out there who are watching this. So the only other major aspects I will say from Amazon is they're focusing very heavily on essentially new product launch. So alongside that AI agent that can help with new product opportunities, they actually also started a new program for FBA regional launch. Essentially what it means is that you can have a launch in just one particular region. And this region is going to be just whatever you choose. So if you want to do a 100-unit batch order of a new product to test it out, you can do that. And you can just send it in to one region. Let's say the closest FBA warehouse. Or if it's the middle of winter and you only want to send it to the north, you can. And that is fine by Amazon now. So I think this is a super cool change where you're not having to just spend so much money to get a product off the ground anymore. I think that's a really cool aspect that they are having within this entire thing. So the only other real big one as well from a logistics side is AWD. AWD, if you send in pallets now, so you can see here entire pallet, essentially this is the VP of FBA here, but if you send in an entire pallet to AWD, you get a 25% discount. So palletized items through AWD are 25% cheaper than sending in box. So if you are doing volume, AWD is definitely going to be one of your best friends now across the board. So I think that's a really, really cool thing that they're doing. But overall, the event was really impactful, in my opinion. There was a lot of stuff that they kind of just came out with. I mean, it was kind of funny seeing them like tout, for instance, custom analytics as like this new and improved thing that they've never had before, but it's been out for like a couple of months now. There's tons of stuff that they talked about during the event. Overall, the event was good. I got even some chances to shake some hands with some execs over at Amazon. I got to talk to the guy who's in charge of all Amazon fees, for instance. And let me tell you, he knows that he is not exactly the biggest fan with Amazon sellers and whatnot. So be rest assured that I did make that known. But it's one of those things that at the end of the day, I always like to see what Amazon's focus is, right? Because it tells you, are they focused on the customers? Are they focused on sellers? Where are they focused? They're really focused on AI right now. It's just what they're really focused on. It's what they're going to continue to be focused on for the foreseeable future. And a lot of the changes we're going to see are going to be AI based. As far as logistics, Amazon also, its secondary focus seems to be very global oriented. I think Amazon is realizing the US market can only hold it for so long and prop it up as like its primary place. And so AGL and Amazon FBA are really, really focused on essentially getting new clientele in, but also getting people into the global realm. And then finally, obviously, through the aspect of Product Opportunity Explorer and the regional FBA launch, yeah, it's pretty clear that they need new sellers on the platform. The new seller count has been going down gradually every single quarter for the last, I think, 8 or 9 quarters. And I don't think that that's going to change until they make changes to where it is impactful for a new brand to launch on the platform. One of the major things I was talking to the VP of FBA fees about was exactly that somebody who is a Shopify brand largely doesn't want to get on Amazon because it's just too expensive. Why would you when your profit margins are cut in more than half most instances? So overall, the event was really, really impactful. There's some really cool things, I think, within Seller Central now for people. Most of it's grain of salt, in my opinion. There's more so just particular things. If you're a reseller, Co-Mingling, fantastic, it's gone. If you're somebody who ships your own product or you do a lot of different marketplaces diversification, the new MCF dashboard is great. I got to play around with it. It's super intuitive. It's basically like a Vico 2.0. I think it's awesome. But overall, I think this it kind of shows where Amazon's mind is at with everything. And to leave you with one final thing, the Amazon ads team was gracious enough to have a little arcade set up at the event. Essentially, this arcade was meaningless, but you got points, and you could spend those points, and you could do some things, and they had a leaderboard. And one of the major things, if you don't know me already, is that I'm a very, very competitive person. And so with that, I decided to come in and just be number one. And so I will leave you all with that in the sense that at the end of the day, it's all about competing on Amazon and off Amazon. So hopefully this was impactful for you guys. If you like this kind of information, feel free to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. You can also go check out my LinkedIn personally, Noah Wickham. I posted a lot of different content throughout the time while I was at Accelerate, a lot of just like in-depth going over certain things, showing off certain areas. And so if you didn't get a chance to check any of that out, I highly encourage you do. We'll add some links down below in the description. And until next time.